My name is Rita Romanos, 32 years old, and I live with my wife Hannah in Richmond, Virginia. I've been Orthodox for the last 5 years. I grew up with my mom and dad in, several different Protestant churches, mostly Baptist churches, but we were at Calvary Chapel for a while, a few other non-denominational churches. But I definitely would say I grew up surrounded by Christian teaching and a real appreciation for the Bible especially. So when I was about 15 years old, we had been living out in the sticks here in Virginia, and we moved over to the Cincinnati, Ohio area because of a ministry called Answers in Genesis, most famously associated with Creation Museum, also with the life-size replica of Noah's Ark that they built recently. What we started primarily doing was actually going to homeschool conventions, and I was primarily speaking to other kids my age or younger, but sometimes, depending on the situation, it'd be a room full of adults, and we traveled all over the place. After high school, I attended a one-year Bible college out in Jackson, Wyoming, and that's actually where I met my now wife, Hannah.
He was my classmate. We did not get along very well at the beginning, but became friends through the course of that year. Part of our church history class was they had a whole stack of, I think it was Christianity Today magazines or something similar, and they said, pick a magazine, pick an article, and write 300 words on it. And I happened to pick a magazine that had an article that was talking about the Eastern Orthodox Church. And ever since writing that paper, I had this little voice in the back of my head saying, you need to visit an Orthodox church, but never actually managed to make it. Adam and I got married summer of 2014. That first year, I never really talked about having the interest or having that draw to Orthodoxy. We were attending a church, and it felt very performative of, we do this to check the box, and then you leave the church and you go back to your normal life. And we would sometimes talk about, share how we were both similarly frustrated with it. But I think what was going on in my own heart that I wasn't really talking about was how empty it all felt. I don't feel any different when I'm praying or when I'm not praying, if I'm reading my Bible or not reading my Bible, if I go to church on a Sunday or don't go to church on a Sunday. It didn't make a difference. Nothing changed. I was a missionary kid. I grew up in Indonesia. I grew up on the stories of the martyrs. I grew up on the stories of the missionaries, and we had jihad war in Indonesia at one point. It was right over the mountain from me. And I remember they were stopping the buses, asking everyone to show their government identification card, which states your religion on the government ID card. And if it did not say Islam, they would ask you to convert on the spot. If you did not convert, you were beheaded. It's just words. Why don't they just say the words, and you can say in your heart, I don't actually mean this, and God's gonna know that you don't mean it. And then after you say the words and you walk away with your life, then you can just say, oh God, please forgive me. I didn't actually mean it, and you can go on with your life and everything's perfectly fine. Why would they choose to die? I'm going to church, I'm praying, I'm checking all the boxes, and it feels so empty, and this is not something that I would die for. A matter of a few weeks of regularly attending Divine Liturgy, I started to see how there was a faith that was worth dying for. It was possible to have such a relationship with Christ that your life didn't matter, that denying Him was worse. Once you see that, you can't unsee it.
So initially, when Hannah was going and visiting St. Andrews, and I was just staying at home, I didn't really think too much of it. I think in my mind I had, I guess what I would now call like a very ecumenist mindset, where I thought, hey, we're both trying to follow Christ. We're both, going about this in slightly different ways, but that's what's important. And then I started looking into Eastern Orthodoxy a bit more because I just became a little bit curious. And at that point, I started to have a lot of red flags that were going off for me. I became very argumentative. I became very judgmental. And to my shame, I say, I was very, very harsh toward Hannah in that time, where she was genuinely trying to pursue Christ and pursue truth. And I was a stumbling block to her, where I was constantly, trying to pick a fight about theology or about, church practice, and just utterly unwilling to budge. And I remember Hannah at different points telling me, at times with tears, I don't know what to tell you other than that I have found Christ. I've truly found Christ here. I
could tell him this is what Orthodox Church teaches or believes, but I didn't have the answers to say why. And he had, yes, we both went to Bible college, but then he has a master's in theological studies. So he's pulling out all these arguments that I don't have a counter to. And I just have to keep falling back on, but I feel alive. And that wasn't a deliberate change that I tried to do. When you're exposed to the services, when you're exposed to the saints, when you're exposed to who Christ truly is, it changes you.
I said to Hannah, hey, would you be okay if I visited St. Andrews with you? And I think she was very surprised that I even, that I had any interest at all. But she said, yeah, sure, of course. And I visited for the Christmas Eve service. And I know Father Adam, he still deservedly gives me a very hard time of saying, I remember you just standing in the corner with your arms, your arms tightly crossed the whole time.
He stood up along the wall with his arms crossed, being very grumpy the whole time, and we still love to tease him about that. But our marriage was tense, strained, filled with spiritual and theological debates that didn't end happily for either of us.
It was a lot more tension in our relationship at that point. The real turning point came actually when, on the day that Hannah was baptized and chrismated into the church. And I remember that day saying to myself, I'm gonna try to go, and I'm gonna be supportive of Hannah, and I'm gonna not nitpick everything. I'm gonna just try to go and take it in and just be present. And when I did that, I immediately saw so much beauty in everything that was happening. It's hard to explain, but it was like I turned off that hyper-analytical part of my mind and just opened myself up to encountering Christ, and there he was. The next day I called Father Adam and I said, hey, can you meet me at St. Andrews? And he did, and he had the biggest smile on his face because he knew what had happened. And we started talking, and a couple weeks after that, I became a catechumen. So for anyone who may not be familiar, a reader in the Orthodox Church is the lowest office of clergy. It's part of what's called minor clergy, which includes readers and subdeacons. Typically, the responsibilities of a reader in a parish are, as the name would imply, reading. Of course, historically, literacy was not nearly as prevalent as it is today, so it was very important to have people in a church that could read the scriptures, that could read the prayers of the service for anything that wasn't going to be read directly by the priest. In my case, as a reader at St. Andrews, part of that responsibility is also directing the choir, which has been, truly just such a joy. Father Adam came up to me one day and was like, hey, I think you should be tonsured as a reader. You know, you're going to be basically made minor clergy, and you know that will come with additional responsibilities. You'll wear a cassock to services. He said, but functionally, you're not going to be doing that much different from what you're doing now. Because at the time, I was already helping with choir to some respect. I was already helping with the readings and the prayers in the church. And so from his perspective, it was, well, you're already doing the stuff. You might as well make it official. What ended up happening was that there was a full assembly of the Diocese of the South here. And so it was not only His Eminence Archbishop Alexander, but it was also His Beatitude Metropolitan Tikhon and His Grace Bishop Gerassim were all three present. And this was the first time that I had ever met any Orthodox bishop. And here I am standing in front of three, surrounded by well over 100 Orthodox priests. And I was terrified. When I see pictures from that day, it is still surreal. It really is.
Seeing the joy that he has in the community, in the services, in the life that we have in the church. There's no other word for it other than it's just beautiful.
Prior to becoming Orthodox, I knew a whole lot of things about the Bible. I knew a whole lot of things about Christ. So it's not just knowing all of those things, it's really experiencing them. It's living them.
I laugh because I knew that if he ever changed his mind way back when, if he ever changed his mind, I knew he was going to jump in with both feet. I smile and I laugh because it's true. He jumped in with both feet, and it makes me happy every day to see it.